Lyrical, lyrical. What you hear is what you feel.
Welcome! We've had a week off, so you might be wondering where we've been. Welcome to another episode, and it's in fact episode 9 of Lyrical. You find me here in mid-November with my illustrious co-host, Pazmondo, the Pazmeister General, and I'm sure the listeners are dying to know a health update following your recent flu issues. Are you now back up and running, back in the game?
Yeah, I still don't feel great, but I am better than I was.
No sniffles?
I've got a bit of a blocked nose, yes.
What is this? It's the longest cold known to man, isn't it? What's going on here? You going for a record here?
I don't know. I'm trying.
You're trying, are you? It's week 4, aren't we? 3 or 4 for the Paz's cold?
That's it.
So by the new year, we're hopeful Paz's nasal passages will have a clear bill of health. But in the meantime, you're going to have to put up with a bunged up Paz.
That's it.
Talking about lyrics and interpretations of songs which are from the top 500 songs of all time, allegedly, although we disagree. I'm sure there's lots that we've already covered which we wouldn't agree with being in the top 500. I can say that for sure on my end. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
There's some rubbish ones in there, weren't there? I wonder when that list was compiled.
I don't know. That's why I say to you, I prefer any others.
Maybe it was like at the end of the century, so maybe it's the top 500 from the 20th century, and it finished in 2000. Maybe have we done any songs after 2000? I think there has been a few, hasn't there? That MGMT one, that would have been after 2000. So it was done in very recent times. So I'm sure the random song generator has been missing you, Paz. So if you'd like to fire up your fingers this week to see who we get first of all on the comeback trail. There we go.
What song will we get?
First up this week, we have got The Supremes, Where Did Our Love Go? Released on Motown in June 1964. It spent 14 weeks at number 1. Blimey. After 8 flop singles in a row, the trio were dubbed by the music press as the No-Hit Supremes. Harsh. The Marvelettes, Motown's top girl group at that point, passed on this song, and the Supremes didn't like their own recording until it hit number 1, that is. Recontextualised it, and they said, it was good all along. It was good all along.
Crap. No, actually, we've done number 1.
Apparently, here we go, the foot-stomping beat in the song is actually 2 boards being banged together. So we'll find out what this beat is. Yeah, we'll find out what these boards being beaten together. And as we listen to The Supremes, Where Did Our Love Go? Now, a reminder for those listening that there will be a playlist accompanying this podcast on YouTube with all the songs we review this week in there. So the first track you'll find in there with episode 9 is The Supremes, Where Did Our Love Go? We'll talk to you on the other side.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Baby. It wasn't, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was Where Did
Our Love Go? I was looking at the lyrics hoping that they would rescue me by having the name of the song in them, but they didn't rescue me. They just left me hung up to dry there. And then Paz...
They do say it, you read the wrong bit.
Paz rescued me. Oh, yeah. I thought I read one of the other bits there.
If you read the chorus.
Yeah, the chorus. So that's one of the things I was going to say about the song, Paz, that Motown, they don't mess around, do they? They go straight in there with the chorus and then they repeat it to sort of nail it into your head so it's nice and catchy and repeating in your very soul. So they go straight in there with the chorus and then they hammer it home, certainly, don't they? I mean, most of that song is actually chorus, isn't it? It's just
that's it. It's a short song as well.
Yeah, it's a nice short song.
Fade
now,
out.
The boards that they mentioned, I think there's like a 1-2 beat at the beginning, like boom, boom, boom. That must have been what the boards were, but it sounds like someone's tap dancing shoes, doesn't it? It's like so it's been mixed and muted in the EQ to be quite cool. A bit of early studio genius there from the Motown guys. What do you think of that song then, Paz?
I like the song, but it is short, and then I mean, it's one for me. It's one that I knew of, but I didn't realise it was so short and so just say lots of babies, and that's about it. And chorus.
Yeah, hammering that melody home, isn't it? Like, baby, baby.
It's a very simple song, even in terms of production wise as well, isn't it? So
just goes to show. And interesting, like they said in the blurb with the song, that they didn't actually like it at first, and some other artist who was the golden girl of Motown at the time passed up on it and gave it to the Supremes, who of course is Diana Ross and her ladies. Now, I know you're dying to know this, Paz, but the most exciting thing about this song is that a German language version was released in April 1965, which translates into "Baby, baby, wo ist unser Liebe." So there you go. So they released it as a B-side. They released this song in English in Germany, but with a B-side sung in German
99
as well.
red balloons in German.
Which is what?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Teed yourself up for a version there. So I got to number one for how many weeks did I say? A lot of
14,
weeks. 14 weeks, yeah. Blimey, good song, a famous song.
That's what's. It's really weird looking back at it. It's like there's not, as I say, not much to it, is there really? And as you've said, someone's wrote that, and it's not really. It wasn't put for them who actually wrote it, so it's them kind of acting at the same time, if you know what I mean.
In a seamless link, Paz, according to Brian Holland, who is Brian Holland? Let me just hover over him and I'll let you know. Brian Holland is an American songwriter and record producer, best known as a member of Holland Dozier Holland, the songwriter and production team that is responsible for much of the Motown songs and sound, and wrote numerous hit records. Okay, so he wrote this one. So according to Brian Holland, who wrote the song, "Where Did Our Love Go" was written with the Supremes in mind all along. Though Supremes member Mary Wilson later wrote that the song had originally been given to the Marvelettes. Holland always denies that claim, as do the Marvelettes themselves. Marvelette member Catherine Anderson Schnafer later said the song did not fit her group's repertoire because it was produced with a slower beat, whereas their music was more up-tempo. When the Supremes were originally given the song, the group members were not pleased with the song. Supremes member Florence Ballard later stated that they had wanted a stronger single similar to the Marvelettes' "Please Mr. Postman." Oh, that's a good song, that. Another objection from within the group was that it sounded too kiddie-ish. Although the group felt the song did not have a hook needed to make it successful, little did they know. They decided they had no choice but to keep Motown happy and prepared to record it. Blimey. Initially, the producers also argued over who should sing the song in the Supremes because it had been cut in the same key as Mary Wilson's voice. The lead vocal was ultimately assigned to Diana Ross, however, because according to AllMusic's Ed Hogan, she had a more unique, sensuous sound. She sang it in her usual high register in the recording studio. As a result, Ross was told to sing the song in a lower register and begrudgingly complied with Holland Dozier Holland's to-the-letter formula for Motown songs at that time. Mary Wilson and Florence Ballard's vocal contribution was significant in bringing a fresh yet smooth tone to the overall sound of the song. And I agree with that because those backing vocals are brilliant, Paz, aren't they? Those baby, baby. And there's lots of variations on the baby, baby in the background. And it's all like honey, isn't it? Some really liquid honey to your ears. Some of those backing vocals, it wouldn't have been the same song if it had just been Diana out front, I think, with that lead bit. But the backing vocals from the rest of the Supremes definitely do add to the song and make it more honey on your ears, definitely. After hearing the song's playback, an excited Ross rushed to Gordy's office and told him he must come to the studio and listen. At the end of the playback, a satisfied Gordy nodded, telling the producers and the group that the song had the potential to be a top 10 hit. He knew his business, didn't he, Gordy? Oh, Gordy, if you remember from our Smokey Robinson session, he loved Gordy, didn't he? His child was named after Gordy, and his dog was named after Gordy's wife, and his goldfish was named after Gordy's son and stuff like that. He loved Gordy. So Gordy was the main man at Motown, wasn't he? We've heard all about Gordy before. Okay, yeah, so that went to number one for a number of weeks. A lot of the lyrics are just a lot of babies, aren't they?
And looking at the word baby a lot of times, it makes it look like it's not a real word. It looks like babby. Now,
was it inspired by Muhammad Ali? Because it's got stings like a bee in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now That I Surrender.
Well, she's got, I think he's left her with a disease because she's burning and she's from deep inside it hurts.
Could be. Oh dear.
So, and he came into her heart.
Oh, Paz, Monday, you haven't gone there, have you? All the promises of love forevermore, and she's got a burning, burning yearning.
Yeah, that's it. Deep inside.
Oh dear. Before you won my heart, baby, baby, you're a perfect guy, and now that you got me, you want to leave me behind. Love 'em and leave 'em. It's Diana having a pop at love 'em and leave 'em type guys. Are you a love 'em and leave 'em type guy, Paz, or not?
I don't know what that is.
Once you're there, you're going down with the Titanic. You're at the steering wheel, aren't you? You're in it for the long haul.
We're in for the ride.
You're in for the ride. Okay, I enjoyed that song. It's a classic. Every time it comes on the radio, you kind of ears light up, don't they? There's a nice song. A number of different people have covered it, including Soft Cell in 1981, in which they included it as a medley with their song Tainted Love at the time. It was the B-side to that song. You remember that one? Tainted Love. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that one won't be next up because we've just sung it badly. Yeah, Supremes. Well, I say we. I'm dragging you down with the Titanic. As I said, you're sat next to me on the ship.
I have a lovely singing voice.
Yeah, I have a lovely singing voice, mate.
I love singing.
That was released in April 1964, would you believe? Motown classic songs. I wonder, they must do a Motown Greatest Hits. That'd be a hell of an album, wouldn't it?
I'm sure there is.
Oh, imagine all this.
Depends who's picking them though, doesn't it?
I'm surprised, yeah. Hopefully it's not the same people doing this top 500 thing. Well, imagine it's not just one disc either, because they've got so many songs.
If it's on the same label, all that stuff, these are the greatest hits, all on our label. Yes.
I'll be interested to find out how many CDs or how many volumes there are in the greatest. Let's look up now to satisfy our own
your needs.
So, yeah, my needs. Yeah. So Motown Greatest Hits. How many discs?
There'll be loads of different ones.
Right. Are you ready?
No.
There's 100. Jesus, they've got 101 Motown anthems. Motown anthems gold. So they've managed to get it all onto one disc. But it must be a double box set. It's 101, basically. 101 Motown Greatest Hits. Now, that's a hell of a Greatest Hits, isn't it? Wow. And that would be good on SingStar as well, wouldn't it? I'm sure. I think we had one at Christmas, Motown's Greatest Hits on SingStar. Corker to kick us off with. If you'd like to limber up those fingers, old bean, and get the random song generator fired up for our second track of the week.
What song will we get?
We have got... Never heard this song before in my life. I know of the artists. I've heard a few of his songs. It's by Van Morrison, Paz.
Okay.
And it's called Into the Mystic. Released in March 1970. It was actually not a single, so maybe it's one of these other songs which we've discussed recently where it was used to promote a bigger album, or a bigger piece. Into the Mystic, well, here we go. So we've got some information about it already. Into the Mystic is one of Morrison's warmest ballads. An Otis Redding-style reverie with acoustic guitar and horns. The lyrics are truly mysterious. Blimey, I'm not going to read the lyrics because we're going to look at them in a minute. Let's go and listen to this one to remind you all that this song will be track 2 in the playlist for this week's episode, which you can find on YouTube accompanying this podcast. This is Van Morrison, Into the Mystic.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
That was a little rendition there from me of the horn section at the end of that song, which repeats. Is that pretty authentic, Paz?
Yeah, I mean, he keeps going on about foghorn leghorn.
Yeah, foghorn leghorn.
And it seems like the song is about Mystic Meg.
What are you insinuating, that I'm foghorn leghorn?
Mystic Meg.
Good song there, and it did exactly what it said on the tin from that little brief blurb about the song at the beginning there. It was like a wistful ballad. I've written down wistful. I'm not sure if the description said wistful, but I've written wistful. It's a nice little chilled out vibe at the beginning there. It's an acoustic guitar and it had lots of slapping and claps and tambourines and stuff going on. Do you like that one?
I think the song arrangement was quite, again, simplistic. It wasn't too heavy or anything like that. Singing voice is fine, but I mean, this song wasn't for me though.
Lessons to be learnt, as for us, on how to have a hit single. Simplistic is best, apparently.
I mean, I do like doing simplistic stuff, just having even a drum or a sound or whatever. But I just, as a whole song, it just didn't. I didn't feel it.
It was something and nothing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt like in the second half when he mentions the foghorns and then the horns go, it for me, it just felt like that was them thinking they've done something clever when it just wasn't.
And
really.
it reminded me of that bit in Phoenix Nights when they've got Right Said Frank, I think, instead of Right Said Fred, haven't they? And that woman's singing the song about, and every time the lyrics get to mention like a bird singing, they'd hit a sound effect on their little crappy keyboards, and then it completely ruined the song for the singer.
Yeah, because it didn't, for me, that didn't fit there. It didn't go.
No,
with
it's
it.
point. That was silly, wasn't it? It was a bit.
It just felt like they were trying to be clever about it, and it backfired. But well, I say backfired. I mean, maybe people liked it, but I mean, for me, I didn't. It just wasn't for me.
As those of you that are following along with the playlist will know, when it got to the lyric, when that foghorn blows, someone hit on a keyboard a foghorn going
yeah.
much to me and Paz's disgust, to be honest.
Yeah, not a song for me. As I say, it's I mean, even lyrically I didn't.
Let's have a look at those aforementioned lyrics, Paz. So first verse we've got,
we were born before the wind. We weren't though, unless he's talking about the backside of his mum.
yeah, maybe.
I came out before she fired.
Mrs. Morrison, I apologise on Paz's behalf.
We are younger than the sun. That is very obvious. Is he?
Here the bonny boat was one.
Yeah.
Did he do that in a Scottish accent?
That's what I was saying.
Here the
That's
bonny
it,
boat
yeah.
was one.
Yeah, the bonny boat was one.
As we sailed into the Mystic.
Into the Mystic, Meg.
Which is handy because that's the name of the song, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which
I thought it's called Into the Mystic, but I thought it could have even been called Foghorn because he went on about that quite a bit.
Well, funny you should say. I know all about this song on Wikipedia, so I should tell you all about it in a minute. Second verse, hark now, herald angels sing.
Hear the sailors cry.
Hear the sailors cry.
Smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic.
Into the Mystic again.
I mean, again, this could be about dying or something like that, but I mean,
It could be about a ferry journey from Portsmouth to the Isle of Wight.
Maybe he's just going to Isle of Wight to meet his gypsy Mystic Meg.
Yes. When the foghorn blows, when the boat comes in, I'll be coming home. Yeah, when that foghorn blows, I want to hear it. I don't have to fear it. Maybe his lady friend is coming back from the Isle of Wight, and every time he hears the foghorn go, he knows that the ferry's nearly back and his girlfriend's back from the Isle of Wight.
Do you think he's always going about coming home like England?
Yeah. So Van Morrison was a precursor to "It's Coming Home." It's coming home. The foghorn boat is.
And he's still waiting as well.
He is. He's actually from Ireland, so he is still waiting for that.
Still waiting
to come home. So I don't think he'd want to be included in the English reverence of that song. So he's from Northern Ireland. So the days of Pat Jennings and
Did
George
Northern Irish
Best.
say Bonnie as well? Or was that just Scottish?
Maybe. Apparently they do. And then he utters the kind of tenuous words of, I'm not sure if he'd get away with it these days, I want to rock your gypsy soul. And I imagine he means a travelling soul, like a soul that's travelling from here, there, all around the universe. But I don't think he'd get away with that these days. Van Morrison, although he is from Ireland, isn't he? So who knows?
Isn't that what you're saying? What are you saying here?
We'll cut that bit out. Just like the way back in the days of old, then magnificently we'll float into
What
the
do you see in there, John?
Well, my granddad's grandmother is from Ireland, so I can actually
I had a friend once who was a traveller.
Yeah, so yeah. Then we've got when the foghorn blows, we'll be coming home. Yeah, when that foghorn whistle blows, it's coming home, it's coming, Mystic's coming home.
You've got to hear it, but
I've got to hear it, but not fear it. I want to rock your gypsy soul, and I like the way back in the days of old, and together we'll float into the Mystic. Come on, girl. It seems to be aimed at a girl,
Too
the
late
song.
to stop now.
So we will now...
He's a bit pushy, isn't he?
He is, isn't it? Yeah. A bit,
come on, love, you've got your bra off.
It's a bit rape. Van Morrison's a bit rapist. He's on the edge of room 103 here.
Come here, mate.
Let's have a read on about what this song's about to find out whether he's going to be pushed over the edge into 103 or whether he can be rescued back again. So Into the Mystic was recorded during the Moondance Sessions, which is one of his albums, in New York City in September 1969. The lyrics are about a spiritual quest, typical of Morrison's work. Bass thrums like a boat in motion, and the song comes back to water as a means of magical transformation.
So it was the year before the next World Cup.
Yeah. At the very end, Van sings Too Late to Stop Now, suggesting that the song also describes an act of love. The phrase would become a key point of many live concerts for Van Morrison. The song was originally compared to Yesterday by the Beatles.
I prefer Yesterday.
Yeah, it has been described as another song where the music and the words seem to have been born together at the same time to make one perfectly formed, complete artistic element. Morrison remarked on the song and how its use of homophones
or homophobic
lent to alternative meanings. Into the Mystic is another one of Madame Joy or Brown Eyed Girl. Originally I wrote it as Into the Misty, but later I thought that it had some... Is that a dog? Or
Into the Misty?
I don't know, I used to know a dog called Misty.
Into the Misty.
But later I thought that it had something of an ethereal feel to it, so I decided to call it Into the Mystic. That song is kind of funny because when it comes...
It was hilarious.
It's funny because when it came to send the lyrics to WB Music, I couldn't figure out what to send them because really the song has two sets of lyrics. For example, there's I was born before the wind, and then I was born before the wind. And also, younger than the sun, here the bonny boat was one. Oh, it's hilarious, Van, isn't it? And also, so younger than the sun, here the bonny boat was one. I don't understand. Why is that funny?
You should have been a comedian.
There are different lyrics to the song. Of course there are different lyrics. I guess the song is just about being part of the universe.
Maybe it's the first time he wrote different things.
Music critic Johnny Rogan explained that because of those homophones, although the song's province sounded like an astral plane, I'm just throwing up in my mouth. What a load of shite.
What a load of bullshit.
It also conjures... It'll be interesting to see if Johnny Rogan's that helmet that made us throw up in our mouths last time. It also conjures images of the shipyards of East Belfast with Morrison's tenor sax imitating the sound of a foghorn. Oh, there we go. It was him doing that.
No one who can play it either.
Blimey. Here we go. A Rolling Stone review described the song's importance on the album as Into the Mystic is the heart of Moondance. The music unfolds with a classic sense of timing, guitar strums fading into watery notes on a piano, the bass counting off the pace.
Someone gets paid to say some bollocks like that.
The lines of the song and Morrison's delivery of them are gorgeous. I want to rock your gypsy soul just like the old days, and magnificently we will fold into the mystic. Blimey. They also describe the song as a song of such elemental beauty and grace as to stand as arguably the quintessential Morrison moments. Rogan, here he is again, described it as one of Morrison's finest compositions of the period. Ultimate Classic Rock magazine rated Into the Mystic as Morrison's greatest ever song, stating that its grace and style turned it into an instant classic. Obviously, Brown Eyed Girls is most famous. Yeah, this one's brown nosing. He must have wanted free tickets to Van Morrison's concert. Now, what have I written down here? Parts of the song, it reminded me of the Baywatch theme tune. There's like a diddle-doo, 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 like a... Some people still.
You imagine women running across the beach?
Always, my friend. 24/7. That's a given. But what's this got to do with this song?
Exactly.
I don't know. Women in bikini-clad red running across beaches is never far from my brain. Like, yeah, yeah. Maybe that's what he was on about.
Also younger than the sun.
You'd be pleased to know, Paz, that a live version was included on his 1974 double album, It's Too Late to Stop Now.
We've spent quite a lot of time on this.
We have. Are you saying that it doesn't deserve any time? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the time.
If you had to guess what genre they fold this under on Wikipedia, what would you think it would go under? I'll give you three guesses.
Is it slow rock?
Nope. You got one of the words. You got one of the words right. You got one of the words right there. Yeah, rock's right.
Progressive rock.
Nope.
Not very good rock.
Nope.
Tickle rock.
No. It rhymes with...
Can you smell what the rock is cooking?
What does it rhyme with? This word doesn't actually rhyme with a lot. Yoke. It rhymes with yoke. There we go. That's the only word I can think of that rhymes with folk. So folk rock. Folk rock. There you go. What you're saying is you didn't enjoy that one. Well, it's harmless enough, wasn't it? It was harmless enough.
It was inoffensive, shall we say?
It was. I wouldn't have said it was. If you consider Brown Eyed Girl to be the classic Van Morrison track, this didn't hold a candle to that, did it? I don't know what that rock guy is saying. So that doorbell in the background there marks the time that it's our third song of the week, Pat. So we'd like to fire up the ailing fingers. A new rhythm. Would you like to do a live rendition of Random Song Generator? Hey, what song will we get? It saves me doing a bit of post-production, doesn't it? Okay, so what have we got? We have got the third song this week is interesting. Guns N' Roses.
Gums and Bros.
Welcome to the Jungle. Released in August 1987. It got to number 7 in the charts and spent a total of 17 weeks in the UK charts. Slash's 70s metal crunch and Axl's hellbound shriek brought brutal realism to the LA glam metal scene. They're real life stories, these fucking songs, blasted bassist Duff McKagan. Jungle beckons listeners into the guns.
Which jungle did they go to?
Sordid Hollywood milieu. But Rose's inspiration came from getting lost during his first trip to New York.
To the Amazon.
I never knew that. There we go. So that's that one, Don. The song's about his first trip to New York. So let's delve into this one. Let's have a deep delve into this one. I'm just imagining the sea again and Baywatch babes running up and down.
The babes in the jungle.
So, of course, you can find this in our playlist. Third song of the week, Guns N' Roses, Welcome to the Jungle. We've got fun and games.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. Now, Paz, having looked at the lyrics here, I think that song might be about his first ever trip to New York. That's what I got from the song. Did you get that as well?
Oh, yeah, it sounds exactly like New York.
Doesn't it? Everyone knows that song. Do you enjoy that one, or?
I've put there's energy in the vocals, but I think the lyrics are a bit meh.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, obviously, I say obviously, but they are well known. People know it as soon as they hear it and all that stuff. But looking at it as for what it is, I don't know.
It's of its time.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know what shanies are.
Yeah, we'll go into that in a minute. I've written down the same as you, actually. They're trying to be edgy, seductive and suggestive in the lyrics, but they come across to me as pervy, creepy, sordid and lechy.
Yeah, it wasn't. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not like innuendo as such.
No,
it's just like we're trying to be clever, but it's not really. I didn't really want to hear halfway through the song him getting himself off.
Simulating sex noises halfway through.
I didn't need that.
Yeah, but very cleverly he did it after the lyric of him mentioning his serpentine and then wanting to hear her scream.
But
and Axl Rose.
He's trying to. It's like comparing chasing the game, the love game, should we say, to New York.
Yes,
but it doesn't seem
a wild city compared to the chase of a wild woman, maybe.
Exactly.
You're not going to tame
but he
New
already
York,
knows she's got disease. He says it at the beginning.
Rats, pollution, smog. What else is big apples? And obviously, hopefully, the women that Axl Rose is chasing do not have big apples because they may be men, Axl. Now, you touched upon it there. Not to mention touching to actually Axl Rose's company, because he'll do a high-pitched scream and then make some weird innuendo, which is not clever at all.
He might get down on his shinies.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to get to. What are knees? As an artist, Paz, what do you think went through Axl's mind when he was trying to get onto the knees part, but decided to put the sha in the beginning?
He was trying to go to the song, obviously, the beat, wasn't he? And I think they were going to go na or something like that, and then he just thought, "I'll be really clever," because we were saying, "Watch it bring you to your."
It might be to do with the breath and getting a projection on that word. So let's try it without without the sh. Are you ready?
Yeah, but nah, surely a nah would have done.
Bring you to your knees. There's no reason to go knees. Is there really?
It's trying to go to the thing, but it didn't. I don't think it did well.
That could be the hook to the song, which instantly got rock fans of the mid-'80s elated with Guns N' Roses.
And he threatens to kill them anyway. So.
Does he?
Well, yeah, it says, "You're in the jungle, baby. You're going to die."
You're in the jungle, baby. You're going to die.
Yeah.
I think that's what he actually says.
Something like that.
Yeah. And I like that breakdown bit. And when you're high, you never want to come down. And then he goes down in his lyrics. How clever.
If anyone's looking for a new recording artist, we do have John available.
Axl Rose tribute act is my second job, in fact. If the tax man is listening, I do not have a second job. Or even
as you could tell.
As you can tell, that audition for my second job failed miserably. So we've got the first verse, "Welcome to the jungle." We've got fun and games. Obviously, this is to do with New York. We've got everything you want, honey. We know the names. I guess it's like, take me to a place I can gamble. Take me to a place I can see strippers. Take me to a place I can see Baywatch women running down the beach in red. Is that just my mind again? We are the people that can find whatever you may need. If you got the money, honey, we got your disease in the jungle.
Or maybe
Welcome
he's actually saying he's got disease, isn't he?
How does he get in the jungle from the Big Apple? Is it called the jungle as well?
I don't think so. I think it's just a load of bollocks.
Bring it to your knees. May I wanna watch you bleed. That's a bit weird, isn't it? There's that French art house film in the 70s or 60s where that woman shot herself up and then because she wanted to bleed one more time. Maybe Axl was a fan of that art house French movie where the woman shot herself up there.
Was it Teeth?
And then wanted to watch her bleed. Maybe he wants to sit there watching her having her menstrual cycle. This is very odd, Axl. You're a very odd man. Welcome to the jungle. We take it day by day. If you want it, you're going to bleed, but it's the price to pay. So if she wants to go to New York,
it's very tempting, isn't it?
I've got a proposition for you, baby.
I've got a disease, by the way.
I'm going to New York, and if you want to come, you've got to let me sit there and watch you have a menstrual cycle. It was a very weird song, Axl. You can taste the bright lights. Hopefully he's not tasting her bleed, but you won't get there for free. In the jungle, welcome to the jungle. Feel my serpentine. Then he goes on about his snake. You feel any connection to that song after the bad snake? Yeah, the basilisk and all that.
No, I don't. No.
The basilisk, the serpentine. You could have been sad, couldn't you? Instead of basilisk, you could have been serpentine, aka bad. I've got to try and remember it now.
Sads.
If only it wasn't on your arm. Yeah, it could have been sads. Yeah.
Thanks.
That sad sack from that.
I'm feeling very sad after this.
Hey, what was that cartoon that had sad sack in it? The Raggy Dolls. Remember the Raggy Dolls, Paz?
I don't know what you're on about.
No, okay.
I'm not that old.
Welcome to the jungle. It gets worse here every day. You learn to live like an animal in the jungle where we play. If you've got a hunger for what you see, you'll take it eventually. That's a pertinent point, isn't it? Something if you've got an itch to scratch, or was that the other way around? A scratch to itch, an itch to scratch. You can have anything you want, but you better not take it from me. In the jungle, me. Yeah, so Guns N' Roses' whole career could be summed up for me in that summary that I did earlier. They're trying to be edgy, seductive and suggestive, but they come across as pervy, creepy, sordid and lechy. And thankfully, the grunge bands killed off these See You Next Tuesdays in the early 90s. Although I'm sure you know that you can still see Axl lumbering around a stage, fat and with no hair now, trying to hit the notes that he can't hit anymore, as Slash is alongside him in some leather trousers with a little gut hanging over the top. Some people need to disappear gracefully, and then there's Guns N' Roses. Paz, your thoughts on Guns N' Roses before we move on?
I don't mind Guns. I prefer them better than Roses. Thank you very much.
I believe that two bands came together, didn't they? The LA Guns and the LA Roses, and they did. That's why they're called Guns N' Roses. Believe it or not. Okay, so we know what this is about. Axl wrote the lyrics whilst visiting his friend in Seattle. It's a big city, but at the same time, it's a small city compared to somewhere like LA and the things that you're going to learn. It seemed a lot more rural up there. I just wrote how it looked to me. If someone comes to town and they want to find something, they can find whatever they want. Well, that was a seamless link, wasn't it? The grunge band's killing off Guns N' Roses and he visited his friend in Seattle. What a perfect circle. We've finished the circle there. Slash described the development of the music of the song in his self-titled autobiography. What was that called?
Welcome to the Jungle, I'm guessing.
Slash, I think. As the band was trying to write new
I needed a
material,
slash.
Rose remembered a riff Slash had played whilst he was living in the basement of Slash's mother's house. He played it and the band quickly laid down the foundations for the song. As Slash continued coming up with new guitar parts, it was really the first thing we'd collaborated on, the guitarist recalled. In the whole discovering ourselves period from 85 through to 86, when we were living together very haphazardly and getting together and jamming, there was something going on not a lot of people had, and that song just had this natural feel that was very cool. There you go. The breakdown, which I sang so beautifully a minute ago, was based on a song called The Fake that Duff McKagan wrote in 1978 for his punk band The Veins. The bassist said it was the first song he ever wrote, and it was later released as a single on its own by that band. Okay, according to Slash, the song was written and completed in approximately 3 hours. Rose claimed the lyrics were inspired by an encounter he and a friend had with a homeless man while they were coming out of a bus onto New York. Trying to put a scare into the young runaways, the man yelled at them, "You know where you are. You're in the jungle, baby. You're going to die," and then laughed demonically. It was a very telling lyric.
Maybe
Just the stark honesty of it, yes, said Slash. If you lived in LA and lived in trenches, so to speak, you could relate to it. Blimey. Classic song in the histories of rock music. That will probably feature, won't it? Geffen Music was having a hard time selling the video to MTV to get it aired. David Geffen made a deal with the network and the video was aired only one time. No, yeah, apparently so. And the video was aired once at around 5 a.m. on a Sunday morning just to appease him. As soon as the video was aired, the networks received numerous calls from people wanting to see the video again, however. Probably David Geffen paying people to ring up and say, that's how it worked. In spite of the early morning airtime, the song's music video caught the viewer's attention and it quickly became MTV's most requested video. The video in question, directed by Nigel Dick, begins with a shot of Axl Rose disembarking a bus to LA and a drug dealer, portrayed by Izzy Stradlin, is seen trying to sell his merchandise while Rose rejects it. As Rose stops to watch a huge television through a store window, clips of the band playing live can be seen, and Slash can also be seen briefly sitting against the store's wall, drinking from a clear glass bottle in a brown paper bag. By the end,
clear then.
Yeah, how do they know? How do they know it's clear? By the end of the video, Rose is transformed into a city punk wearing the appropriate clothing after going through a process similar to the Ludovico technique. Do you know what that is? Anyway. Okay, so during an interview with the Rolling Stones, the director said that the video's idea came up with an idea of stealing from 3 movies: Midnight Cowboy, The Man Who Fell to Earth, and A Clockwork Orange. It got to number 1 in the UK charts and in America as well. It was a big song for them when it's probably their breakthrough song, I'd imagine. Yeah, any final thoughts on Guns N' Roses before we listen to the final song of the week, Pasmondo?
No final thoughts, thank you.
No final thoughts. So fire up your pen, your fingers, whatever you find to hand. Just not my microphones because I don't want you to break them.
What song will we get?
Right, the final song of the week is by the artist known as Derek Shannon, abbreviated to Del Shannon. Runaway. Released in March 1961, it spent 17 weeks at number 1, so we should know this one, I'm imagining. A little blurb before we listen. As a kid, Shannon got his first guitar for $5. His truck driver dad wasn't too happy about it, however, and said to him, "You get that goddamn guitar out of here, son." That's the exact words my father used, Shannon later recalled. However, my ma said, "It's okay, son. You can sing for me instead." He sang this hit with raw emotion. Co-writer Crook played a solo on an early electronic keyboard called the Musitron. There we go. This is Del Shannon with Runaway, not to be confused with Runaway by The Cause. I will run away. I will run away.
I'm going to be running away soon.
Paz is going to be running away, throwing up in his mouth at the disgust of the Cause song and my rendition of it. This is Runaway by Del Shannon.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
For the purposes of the lawyers listening on behalf of the state of Del Shannon, Paz is making a note to sample this song on a Bad's classic coming to your ears soon. So who's going to be suing you this week, Paz? Let's have a look. It was actually the record label Big Top Records. I don't know if they're still around, are they?
Well, let's hope not.
let's hope not. Big Top Records was an American record label started by blah blah blah, so they're no longer. I'm sure someone deals with the copyright, don't they?
There is a copyright of how
many years is it?
Because it's been a long time now.
Yeah, isn't it? I shall do that whilst you talk about this song. So I have heard of it. It's a classic, isn't it? It is a classic.
Like it. It is, let's say, one verse, that's all, in the chorus, and the old bridge, all that. And then I'm sure a lot of people will know it when they hear the bit that's going to be sung lovely by John.
And why she went away?
Say the Wonder
why she went away? Did she go away? It is. She will stay.
His little runaway.
Right, whilst I look up the copyright laws to try and get Paz off the hook, what did you make of that first?
Doesn't matter, I'm not selling it anyway, so it'll be free, don't worry. What was I saying? Oh, yeah.
What do you make of the first verse, mate?
As I walk along, I wonder, as many people do, but what went wrong with our love? A love that was so strong. And as I still walk on, I think of all the things we've done together. While our hearts were young. So, yeah, just thinking about the past, isn't it?
The golden age is 70 years. So it's 70 years after it was written, or 70 years from when it was first published, or 70 years after the death of
so
the
basically 1950s.
person. Yes.
And beyond.
Yes.
Pre.
70 years is the golden number. So, fortunately, it was released in 1961.
I have to wait a little bit longer to release my version.
Another 10 years? Yeah, another 10 years.
I'll release it in 10 years' time.
Yep, so you can find that on bads.com in the year 2032. Is it worth the wait? We don't know because you haven't written the song yet. I'm sure
I haven't written the song, and I'm gonna do it anyway. I don't care.
Okay.
We'll see.
So the first point of order for this song is that the B-side to the song was actually a girl's name. Now, if you had released that song as a single, Paz, what girl's name would you use as the B-side?
I wouldn't know. I just called it Runaway.
No, the B-side.
The B-side?
If they've named it after a girl, so the girl's name is the name of the B-side.
Is there any girl's name in this song? I don't think there is.
No, I don't know, but if you had to choose any girl's name, maybe Pamela?
Were you thinking about Baywatch
again? Yeah, she's got Baywatch in there. It's called Jodie, would you believe? Jodie, yeah. Jodie.
Or Jolene.
Now, the other interesting fact about this song, that it was originally recorded in the key of A minor. However, producer Bauk, whose name
he didn't like minors,
trying to find his first name on here, Harry thereof, he sped up the recording to pitch it just below a B flat minor.
Okay.
So it's already been repitched. If that might give you an idea on what Paz is planning to do with the song, what low pitch it, lowball it.
I don't know. I'll see what happens.
Okay. What else do we know about this song?
I'm walking in the rain.
It was the theme tune for NBC television series Crime Story, apparently, as well. Derek re-recorded that in 1986 for that. Shannon appeared on Late Night with David Letterman on February the 10th, 1987, performing Runaway with Paul Schaefer and the World's Most Dangerous Band, which of course was Paul Schaefer's band. Letterman introducing Shannon as having sold as many as 80,000 singles of Runaway per day at the peak of its popularity. The best known original version is in mono. However, in subsequent compilations, a different tape from the same recording sessions is available in stereo. Lyrics. The song is sung from the point of view of a man whose girlfriend has just left him. She is mostly referred to in the third person, but she is briefly addressed in the second person in the lyrics, wishing you were here by me. Have we got to that bit yet? I can't see that. But you wishing you were
that's
here
part
by
in the
me.
chorus.
That's the chorus.
It's part of the chorus.
So they kind of followed the Motown template there, didn't they? They go bang straight in with the chorus and then hammered it home.
Well, no, the verse first.
Pulled it back. Did they? Is there a verse first?
Is that a verse as I walk along, I wonder?
So Del Shannon famously completely threw away the Motown songbook when he was recording this one and went in with the verse first. Deletes any comments I made. Oh, there you go. So one verse and then bang, chorus,
bridge, chorus, outro.
My little runaway, run away. Why? She ran away. So two really beautiful 60s songs there to start with and to finish with. Good to be back, Paz.
Always great to be back here, isn't it?
Good answer. Can't argue with that, can you? Anything else you want to get off your chest before we call it a day this week? I'd
say the last one was my favourite song out of the lot.
Okay. Any message for Daniela who's trying to hunt you down at the moment?
I don't know.
No message. I don't know. No messages. If you wish to contact Paz, speak to his PA because he's not accepting any messages. He's off to write a song which is sampling Runaway by Derek Shannon, also known to his friends as Del Shannon. That concludes episode 9 of the Lyrical podcast, available on Spotify and YouTube. On YouTube with accompanying playlist, which will feature the 4 songs that we listened to this week. A varied bunch, but some nice listening to. Get your
chops round.
If you're Guns N' Roses, if Axl Rose wishes to get his chops around. That pervert. Are we throwing him in room 103 yet, or do we need more of a reason?
I don't know. Maybe one day.
One day. Well, you're on our watch, Sunshine. We're watching you, Axl Rose. You're going to be in there, but we need a reason to put you in there first. Doing sex noises after mentioning his serpentine, is that not reason enough to throw him in?
No, you can if you want. Whatever.
All of them, or just this slashing his leather pants staying out, or not?
I don't know. I kind of
like Duff because he's from Seattle and he's
Duff Man.
Duff McKagan. He's mates with all the grunge guys. So I like Duff, and he's written a good book on mental health actually, Paz. So we'll let Duff stay out. It's something to do with a bike. It was because Lance Armstrong did It's Not About the Bike, didn't he? And Duff McKagan released a album about his struggles with addiction and panic attacks and whatnot, and it's a really good book, and it went right to the top of the charts, and he went around the world talking about his book and whatnot, so I can highly recommend Duff McKagan's book. Can you fill in a minute while I try and find out what that book's called, Paz?
I'm filling in while he tries to look up a book. You may know me from other shows such as Lyrical Episode 1, Lyrical Episode 2.
You may remember me from such podcasts as Lyrical Episode 1, 2, 3, 4,
exactly.
5, 6, 7,
you found
8.
It yet?
No, I did have Duff McKagan.
He's made this up.
It's called...
It doesn't exist.
Would you believe it? He's used 2 of Guns N' Roses' famous songs in the title of his book. It's called It's So Easy and Other Lies. Lies was their cover album they did, released at the pomp.
Welcome to the jungle.
Height of their pomp. Believe it or not, he's only 58. I thought he was older than that, but...
Just slightly younger than you.
Chortle. Very good book on his battles with drug and alcohol addiction. One of his internal organs, spleen, I think it is, exploded on him. That's what made him give up drinking, and he thought he was going to die, so he made a deal with God,
the devil,
the God or the devil, to say that I'm going to give up drinking. And he started cycling, and then started doing martial arts. I can't remember which martial arts he started doing. And he's turned his whole life around, and he manages all the financial affairs for Guns N' Roses now because he studied to get an economic degree, I believe, when he got sober and clean. So, Very inspirational story, worth reading if anyone is into comeback stories. So, Duff McKagan there, legend. You can stay out. I was going to say the rest of them can go in, but I think the drummer died.
John's watching you.
Yeah, I'm watching you, son. Slash is English, so we'll leave him out, not to be in any way xenophobic. Is there an anti-xenophobic or
biased there?
Biased towards him, yeah, because he comes from Midlands, doesn't he?
I don't know, mate.
Home of all good rock bands, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, blah blah blah. Okay, so that concludes episode 9 of Lyrical, and as you will remember every week, Paz cannot remember the catchphrase that we go at the end, so I'm going to give him one last, 9th chance to try and remember what it is.
I think it's see you next week, everyone.
No, it's not that at all. It's Q.
Cue the end credits.
Credits. There's no the in it. Q end credits.
Cue the end credits.
Cue the end credits. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
What you hear is what you feel.